Speaking of championships, you know where we're going with this. San Francisco 49ers and Kansas City Chiefs, as we all know, just played in the Super Bowl recently. And it's a really, really, really good game. It was a very, very enjoyable Super Bowl, not so much for 49er fans, but for a fan of football, it was a
It
great game.
was. It,
Yeah.
it was it was an enjoyable game.
The outcome wasn't what you would have wanted, sure.
Right. I mean,
Um,
this is the thing, man. At the end of the day, only one team wins, and obviously, you want your team to win,
Obviously.
and you don't want your team to blow a 10-point lead with 7 minutes left in the game. But from my perspective on, not just that game, but just the season, I felt like the 49ers gave me a lot to be proud about with how they played throughout this year. And I think that part of it kind of gets overshadowed because they did blow a lead. Like, yeah, you should have won. We should have 6 Super Bowls right now. And, it sucks that the team doesn't. But I'm still really happy and proud of the team and how they performed and how much they gave me to cheer about. I attended my first playoff game. I went to the NFC Championship game, and just being a part of that moment and how they handle business there. Like they gave me a lot to be like proud about as far as being a 49er fan, especially after being in dark years for the last 5 years. So
I don't think anybody, including even the most homerish of 49er fans, expected them to be where they were at after 4-12. But I agree with you. I think they're in a prime position to continue, progressing forward, and they should be competitive for a while. But as with every team, there's going to be some type of roster turnover, cap casualties, holdovers. What are you looking at in terms of a Super Bowl hangover, and how does this team stay on top?
Super Bowl hangover, that's tough. I think somebody like Kyle Shanahan might be able to, help the team figure out a way to get over that. 49ers have a great roster. I mean, a great locker room. And from everything I hear, it seems like guys were really anxious to get back to the Super Bowl. You heard the clip of George Kittle saying, I'm going to be back here with the vengeance, right? And it's like he meant that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
he meant that. And I think when the leader of your team, that's the leader. He's the leader of the team. When the leader of the team already has that mentality before a game even ends, I mean, it's over, but the game didn't, the time didn't run out yet. And that's what's on his mind. Like, I got to
Oh,
get
I'm
back.
gonna be back here. I will be back here.
Yeah. Um, I think that type of mentality filters out throughout the team. And I hope, and I think I'm probably gonna push it. I'm pretty sure a lot of fans are gonna push it. Revenge tour, and we're gonna push the whole revenge tour thing to where it's like, hey, like let's get back there. What do we have to do to get back there? And you have great, bright minds in charge of running that team, whether it's uh, Adam Peters, who was with the Denver Broncos. Matter of fact, I want to say Adam Peters most likely was with the Denver Broncos when they lost to Seattle, but then they ended up winning the Super Bowl. I think he was a part of both of those teams, and he's like the right hand man to our GM, which happens to be John Lynch, who also won the Super Bowl, and then uh, obviously Kyle Shanahan, who's been involved in two of the worst, blown leads in Super Bowls. But
Talk about it.
from everything I've seen with those guys, man, like they're tough as nails, and they're going to do everything that they have to do to get the team ready to come back and compete for another Super Bowl run.
I
So,
wouldn't disagree with that. I think we saw a lot of in terms of emotion from the players. We saw a lot of guys wanting to use this as motivation, knowing that they came up short on what should have been and what almost was a magical season. Quan Alexander being one of those guys tweeting about it, that they'll be back. Obviously, George Kittle, the clip that we've all seen. Um, I think the 49ers are in a really good space in terms of who they have on the roster, the leadership that they have on that roster, the talent that they have on that roster. It's going to be interesting what they're going to be able to do in terms of cap space. I know they're not in a dire situation, but they're not in the greatest of one either. Sooner than later, this was I mean, we're going to be going into the third year of Jimmy G's extension, right? Is this going to be the third year? How many more years has he got left after?
It was a 5-year deal, so
Okay, so yeah,
um,
so he'll be going into his third year. He's going to have a couple years after that, so he's going to be good there. But in terms of potential roster changes, who do you see as maybe some cap casualties, some guys that they absolutely need to bring back, and who maybe they can afford to let go and try and fill that void in free agency or through the draft?
well, I'll start with a guy who, there's actually a few guys that I would love to see them back. One, I would love to see Ronald Blair come back.
Okay.
He was the 49ers basically primary reserve edge rusher, and he actually tore his ACL like while like chasing down Russell Wilson.
Okay.
And when you lost him, you kind of see like that really hurt with the rotation of guys and guys having to take more snaps and stuff like that. It hurt losing Blair, and he was having a really good year as a primary, reserve edge rusher. I would love to have him back, even coming off of a torn ACL. The other person is Eric Armstead. Our front seven was a big part of this season,
Absolutely.
causing chaos. Even in the Super Bowl, making it to where, Patrick Mahomes, he wasn't very comfortable throughout the entire game, even down the stretch, even when he made a great throw under pressure while getting hit. So, you would want to keep those guys together. So Eric Armstead, he's going to demand a lot of money. Jimmy Ward.
Okay.
And there are a lot of fans that they want to keep Jimmy Ward around. I don't think it's going to cost that much money. I think he means more to the 49ers than he will to another team on the market. He doesn't, you talked about Byron Jones not forcing, turnovers. Well, I don't think Jimmy Ward forced any turnovers all year. Almost did. He forced a fumble in the Super Bowl. But outside that, I don't think he generated any takeaways. I'm fully on board with the 49ers bringing back Emmanuel Sanders. Now, I don't think he has the juice that he used to have, but I still think that he's playing at a very good level, doesn't drop balls, gets open. Jimmy G trusts him, and then, like I said, the stuff in the locker room. So I think you have to bring Emmanuel Sanders back. That would be a priority on offense.
So it sounds like, generally speaking, you're trying to keep the roster as intact as possible. Don't want to bring in any new faces at any positions that you absolutely have to switch out, especially impact ones. Obviously, you want to draft well, and obviously you want to see what you can do in free agency in terms of upgrading depth. But it sounds like to me, for the most part, you want to be able to just keep your starting core intact.
Right.
And I would agree with that, especially when you're talking about a team that just came off of a Super Bowl appearance and 7 minutes essentially away from winning a Super Bowl. You want to just try and keep that core together.